There's that moment, you're diving into a corner and you realize, oh no, I'm too fast. You misjudged the turn, you got distracted, the corner tightens, you hit a false neutral. It doesn't matter how it happened. What matters is what do you do next? Now look, this happens to everyone. Everyone, even the best riders in the world, overcook corner entrance from time to time. There's a way out. I've used this technique myself. It's saved me more than once, and I've taught it to thousands of riders. Hi, my name is Dave, and I've been a professional motorcycle coach for 25 years. So let's get into this. Now, what exactly does it mean to enter a corner too fast? Is it simply too much forward velocity to be able to negotiate the corner? Is it too fast for your brakes? Or is it too fast for your skills and technique? Let me give you a quick example from my own riding. When I got my Aprilia, it was a big jump in power, almost 100 horsepower more than the bike I had before. And I completely and wholly underestimated how much speed I could gather between two corners. And yeah, I completely overcooked it. There was no way to make the corner at the speed that I was traveling. So step one is to move your eyes. And this is something that we can practice, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. It sounds simple, but it's critical. And this is where target fixation can really bite us. In my helmet, I said out loud to myself, move your eyes. Move your eyes away from the outside of the corner and to the inside of the bend. Physically, you have to move your eyes. And this is why saying it out loud is so important. I mean, no shame, we're trying to stay alive here. Step two is find where you can get your bike as upright as possible for as long as possible. Why? Because upright means less lean and more grip. The more we're on the center of the tire, the more we can apply the brakes. At this point, time is not your friend. Everything else goes out the window, and we need to think about staying on the asphalt for as long as possible. Look, this is going to be a panic situation. Our brain wants to stab the brake, right? But we want to think about what Champ School teaches us about tires. Remember, we load the tire before we work the tire. We have to wait for the weight of the bike to transfer to the front tire and push it into the ground. Think of it like walking on ice. You gently ease your weight on and test it. Same idea here. Let the front settle before you squeeze. It might only take a half a second, but you've got to wait for the front tire to load and to bite. That's what gives you grip. And that's what gives you a shot. In this moment, focus on your front brake. The rear brake is okay, but we need to focus on our front tire. This can be complicated by a lot of things, and you're gonna have to make a lot of very quick decisions. I mean, if there's oncoming traffic, you may not be able to stay on the asphalt, right? So seriously, this is why overcooking corners can be so catastrophic. I mean, this is like landing on the deck of an aircraft carrier. There's no room for mistakes. So yes, the best option is to avoid this situation entirely. But if you find yourself in it, this is your best chance to recover. And hey, if you've been there, and we all have, drop your story in the comments, whether you saved it or if you ran wide into a field of shame and daisies. It helps other riders learn from real moments. Quick shout out to my new favorite riding pants from NBT Clothing. These things check every box. They've got CE Level 1 armor in the knees and the hips. They're made with EndureTech denim, which means you get AAA safety certifications out of a single layer of fabric, so less weight and stiffness without sacrificing safety. And honestly, they are insanely comfortable on and off the bike. The fit is spot on, no weird bunching and no stiff seams. They let me move like I need to on the bike, but I still look good when I'm off the bike. And one of my favorite features, the knee armor is removable from the outside with a quick access zipper. So if you're heading into work or just walking around, it's super easy to pull out the knee armor. So now I can be protected, comfortable, and still look cool without feeling like I'm wearing a stormtrooper costume. But big thanks to NBT. I'm genuinely proud to have the backing of a company that I believe in. And because they are supporting this channel, you get 15% off with coupon code CanyonChasers. Links in the description or right there in the corner if you want to check them out. All right, so you've done everything right. You've moved your eyes, you got the bike up right, you used the brakes like a pro, and now one of two things is about to happen. Option one, you saved it. You stayed on the road, you recovered, and you can go about your day. No harm, no foul. That's the goal. I mean, that's always the goal. Option 2, you didn't, and now you're leaving the road. This is the moment we all dread. And no, this isn't funny. This isn't one of those, haha, I dropped my bike in the driveway stories. This is serious. You're headed for grass, gravel, a ditch, something solid that doesn't move, or a great abyss. If this is happening, here's what you do. You need to get the bike straightened as much as you can. Then jump your eyes ahead. This is so critical. I've watched riders run off the track into a wide open runoff with 50 feet of space and still crash because they stared at the ground. Or worse, they tried to keep turning like they were still on pavement. Don't do that. As you leave the road surface, get those eyes up and out and prepare for a wild ride. It's gonna be exciting in the worst possible way. But we still have a chance, so don't squander it. We wanna get off the front brake and apply the rear brake as much as possible. In our rear brake video, I talked about why it's so important to know where the rear brake is and how to use it. Well, this is why. We wanna use as much rear brake as we can and then go back to the front brake. Now that's right, we wanna use some very, very light amounts of front brake. Depending on where you find yourself, you may have to adjust your trajectory, which is why we wanna be gentle with the front brake so we can adjust if we have to. What we're really hoping for is to stay upright for as long as possible, ideally to get the bike stopped or slowed enough, and if conditions allow, possibly or hopefully return to the road. Now let's talk about that false neutral we mentioned earlier, because yeah, it happens and it sucks. You enter a corner and suddenly instead of engine braking, you get a horrible grinding sound and the bike's freewheeling into the corner. It feels awful, it's unsettling. So here's what you do. You pull the clutch in and you keep it in, and you're gonna need to keep it in longer than you think. And I'm telling you, it won't feel great, but the bike will still turn. Remember to get your eyes up into the inside of the corner and then stay on the brakes. You wanna shift up, not down. Most false neutrals happen between first and second or second and third, and it'll take a lot less effort to get the bike into a higher gear. Once you're slowed down and stable, you can shift back to the right gear. Now, one more nightmare scenario. What if your throttle sticks wide open? In that case, clutch in immediately. And if you can, get to that kill switch. And if you can't, keep that clutch pulled in like your life depends on it, because it just might. Yes, you might blow up the engine, but let me be crystal clear. Rebuilding a motor is way better than meeting a tree at 60 miles an hour. And that brings us to the worst case scenario. At what point do you bail off the bike? And I'm not being dramatic here. Jumping off the bike is a last-ditch effort. This is not a tactic. This is not a move. This is, if I stay on, I'm going to die decision. You only consider this when you've run out of options. We're talking total brake failure, the bike is on fire, you're aimed at a solid, immovable object, or nothing at all. In those rare, terrifying moments, yes, there's a point where ditching the bike is your only shot. There's no rule that says you must stay with the bike no matter what. Your gear works better when you're sliding across something than if you're wrapped around a tree. And if this conversation makes you uncomfortable, good. It should. It means you respect the risks. It means you're thinking critically about the ride. And that alone makes you safer. I don't want to see you ever have to face this situation. So here are some thoughts as well as some things to practice to keep you from ever having to deal with this. Data shows us that the majority of people who leave the roadway aren't using their front brake. Really get into the habit of going to the brakes when you're nervous and staying with them until you're happy with your speed and direction. The front brake does not make the bike stand up and run wide. Abruptly grabbing the brakes can make this happen, but if you go to the brakes early, you can stay with them all the way if you need to. Here's a sobering reality for you. The number one cause of front tires sliding out in corners is caused from the tire being underloaded, not overloaded. Yes, it is possible to overload a front tire in a corner and fall, but it's actually rather uncommon. Front tires lose grip when we abruptly grab the brake or when we abruptly let go of the front brake. Now, I'm gonna link to a video that goes into this in more detail at the end of this video. So yeah, stay with that front brake. Go to the brakes earlier, lighter, and for longer. Next, you have to leave yourself an out. You can't ride 10/10 pace, dragging knees on public roads like it's qualifying for Mugello. If you do, you will eventually crash. And when that happens, it won't be small. You have to constantly be looking for your way out. And in this context, that means space and time to be able to get the bike as straight as possible for as long as possible. So you know how I'm always saying stuff like don't fear the front brake, fear abruptness, and I'm always talking about ways to remove abruptness from our riding. Well, even that, it depends. There's one situation where abruptness is allowed and actually encouraged. We can abruptly take away lean angle, abruptly reduce lean angle, and get the bike back onto the fat center of the tire. Less lean equals less risk. And we can do that by pushing the bike back up and away from you. It's fast, it's instinctive, and in the right moment, it can be life-saving. All right, so how can we practice this? Well, first, know your surroundings and know your way out. And ask yourself, if I blow this corner, where am I going? Scan for space and plan for the straightest line, and that mindset alone can save your butt. Second, move your eyes. I mean, physically move them. And you can practice this in your car, or on your bicycle, or on your next ride. Look toward the inside of the bend and then out further and then come back to the road surface. And look, if you're riding on an unforgiving road, adjust your speed accordingly. Leave yourself options. Third, practice that initial brake pressure. Focus on the first 5%. Load the tire before you work the tire. Wait for the weight. It's one of the most important habits you can build. And finally, practice abruptly taking away lean angle. It's the one kind of abruptness we allow. And if you're in trouble, push the bike up. Less lean equals more grip equals more control. And look, we've all overcooked a corner, and if you haven't, either you don't ride or you're lying. Even the best riders misjudge speed sometimes. The difference is they know how to recover. And now, so do you. Thanks so much for watching, and a special shout out to all the channel members who make videos like this possible. Seriously, your support means the world to me. If you got something out of this video, give it a like. It really helps more riders find it, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that button. I'm here to help you become a smoother, smarter, and more confident rider. Now, if you want to go deeper on one of the most important techniques that I mentioned today, the first and last 5% of brake pressure, check out this video. I'll walk you through exactly how to load the tire and manage grip like a pro. So I'll see you over there. Ride on and ride well.